Alrighty, folks. How's it going? I hope you guys are having a great Friday. I'm having a interesting Friday myself. Got a lot to talk Um, about this upcoming storm system. For this weekend, now it looks like Saturday night, we'll be looking at the latest guidance on how the system is going to evolve, because definitely this is a really strong system that's about to take shape, possibly still bombing out right off the coast of California. Yeah, you heard that right. We might be dealing with a bombing cyclogenesis type cyclone by Sunday as this arrives into California, which is not what you want to really hear about. This is definitely going to be a system that a lot of people are probably going to remember for a while, because there's going to be a lot of impacts associated with this system. So we're going to actually wait for a few more people, or a lot more people, to join here. I hope everyone's doing great, and then we will get started in discussing. I'm going to have Ethan. I don't know if Ethan is available, but if he is today, he will also be joining the conversation. I don't think he is right now. But when he's on, he will probably let me know. So, as you all know, we're going to be dealing with a very strong system hitting northern, central, and southern California. Latest model guidance has remained in pretty good agreement that this is going to be a unprecedented event of heavy rainfall. Now, there is some good news on the side of this. There's not always bad news. And we'll be looking at the ensembles, looking at high-res models as well, because it's not just going to be the heavy rainfall that a lot of you will be dealing with. We're also going to be dealing with some tropical storm force winds. Yes, you also heard that right from my mouth. We could be looking at tropical storm force winds associated with this storm system for Sunday into Monday. Probably going to have to go live on this. I'm going to figure out a way to do that, because we're going to be dealing with quite a bit of winds and heavy rainfall here in my local area. We take a look at the Weather Prediction Center. Let's go to Radar Omega. That's probably a better way to see this. So if we go over there, let's go over here. So if we go to day 2, by the way, day 2, that is Saturday to Sunday. I believe that's what it is. There's already a marginal and slight risk out for heavy rainfall for these locations. So if you're in San Jose, if you're in Soledad, Greenfield, there's a slight risk for heavy rainfall. That is anticipated today. If we take a look at the day 3 outlook, this is when it gets more significant, and there's a slight risk now for my area. A slight risk for heavy rainfall and flooding. Yuba City, Chico, Sacramento, Elk Grove, Stockton, Modesto, Fremont, San Jose. I'm still interested in seeing if they're going to expand the moderate risk even up here into the Santa Cruz Mountains, as well as the Diablo Range, which is here just east of San Jose, where orographic forcing would likely squeeze out a lot more water than areas to the north, because the better dynamics are, of course, to the south this go around. We even have a slight risk of heavy rainfall east of Fresno, with much of the entire Central Valley essentially now under a slight risk for heavy rainfall. Yeah, this is a very, very big area that's going to be impacted, but especially in Southern California, the moderate risk now goes all the way into Ontario, not Ontario in Canada, but Ontario in Southern California, Los Angeles, Glendale, Santa Clarita, Thousand Oaks, Oxnard, that is, Santa Barbara, the Channel Islands, Santa Paula, Santa Maria, San Luis Obispo. If you're at at Tescadero, if you're in Paso Robles, you're under a moderate risk for heavy rainfall associated with this storm system. So definitely some we can see a foot of rain in some areas, essentially, is what models are still indicating. Ethan is here. What's up, Ethan? If you want to join the Discord, because you're good at explaining with what we're looking at here. Which, by the way, Ethan, we're under a wind advisory here, and the models have continued to uptrend on winds with this system. Possibly now 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, over 60 perhaps, across much of the Central Valley, which is enough to bring down trees and power lines, that sort of thing. Okay, so while we're waiting for Ethan. All right, so Ethan is here, so we will bring him up. Our severe weather expert and storm analysis. He's going to be talking about the dynamics of the system and everything like that. Yeah. Hey, Ethan, how's it going? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Ethan, I could hear you now.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, Ethan, models have trended upward on the winds and rainfall for my area, and now there's a slight risk for heavy rainfall. This is not looking good at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw with the latest updates on that, they do have pretty widespread flood watches issued across parts of central Southern California, and numerous wind alerts coming up, and probably more of those coming pretty soon.
Yeah. So, um, can you explain, Ethan, really quick, then we'll get to the dynamics of the storm system. Can you explain on why the National Weather Service in Sacramento wants 40 to 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but not like 45 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts like the high-resolution models are showing? Like, can you explain, like, why are they so generous? Like, you would think they would actually go at least 45, maybe 50 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
Well, they're probably being a little more conservative about it at this point. They tend to, when you're doing a forecast, they tend to look at more of a blend of solutions instead of a single solution. So that might be more refined as things come along, so you might see that change, but at this point, they might be going with a little more conservative of a wind expectation.
Okay. That seems fair enough. That definitely seems fair enough. Which, by the way, Ethan, the NAM 3 kilometer is very concerning with the low level jet in my area. If we actually look at that product, 925 millibar winds, really, really high in the higher elevations, potentially 70 to 90 knots.
Yeah, and that is really significant because most levels of 925 millibar, that is less than a mile above ground. Now, this is a little bit different out in California because you have these changes in terrain, but the point of that is that, especially if you're in slightly elevated areas, the winds are going to be ripping with this, especially within the core of strongest low-level flow.
Exactly. And not only that, I'm checking the 900 millibar winds over the Central Valley could reach almost 80 knots. The higher elevations across, say, the Santa Cruz Mountains, as well as Monterey Bay, we could have winds are right around that 80 to 90 knot range at 900 millibars.
Wow, that is very strong. We don't see that with low-level jets in the central and eastern U.S. very often.
Yeah, this is pretty concerning. 850 millibar flow as well. Even stronger, possibly maxing out at 95 knots over the some of the highest peaks in the Bay Area and over the Central Valley, possibly maxing out at about 80 knots.
Absolutely, very windy system coming in, a very strong pressure gradient developing, and higher elevation areas obviously gain a lot of wind from this, but lower elevation parts too, you can get some very strong winds as well, perhaps into damaging categories as well. Trees, power lines, those are concerns with the system.
All right, Shelly is asking, when will it come? What part of California are you in, Shelly? Can't remember everyone's location, right? So what part of California are you in? Because right now, the latest timing is, well, the rain part of this, and this is interesting, Ethan. It might start raining as early as 6 to 7 at night, but yet the winds are not going to be picking up until later on, until possibly, say, 5 or 6 in the morning is when the winds could increase significantly, actually.
Yeah. There seems to be some precipitation coming north of that warm front ahead of the system, so that might account for that displacement.
Yeah. Sorry if you guys hear noises. We're actually having a heater installed, so you might hear some weird background noises. They're using electric tools and stuff. Yeah, the basement is 2 floors below me, and yet I could hear them even with my headphones on. So if you do hear some funky sounds, that's what they're doing. Our heater actually gave out on us about a week ago, leaking carbon monoxide in the house, which is a poison, and our detectors went off. So we had to get someone to look at with what's going on, and they found out that the heater, the asbestos was actually igniting, and it was not supposed to, and it was there was a lot of carbon monoxide being leaked into the air, and so that's why we're getting our heater replaced, and we're gonna have AC. We're gonna have a whole house air conditioner, so I'm not gonna need my portable AC like I had before.
Yeah, that's definitely good to get that replaced with that. That is a very hazardous situation.
Yeah, very hazardous. All right, so Cyclone '03. Wait, is there snow in the system or no? There will be snow in the higher elevations, and we could be looking at very significant amounts of snowfall out of this winter storm. In fact, if we take a look at our snowfall forecast, some of the highest peaks, Ethan, this is on the NAM 3 kilometer, 4 to 8 feet of snow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, four
Wow.
4 to 8 feet of snowfall, according to the NAM.
Yeah, that is if you're in higher elevations there, that is enormous amounts of snow, obviously. That's gonna lead to travel disruption, in those areas as well, but hopefully can build up that snowpack a little more because as far as I know, it has been lacking for a lot of the winter.
Yeah, we're gonna really make it up, I guess. I guess nature's deciding, oh, we'll make it all up pretty quickly. So, let's now talk about the dynamics of the system. And we got satellite imagery, Ethan. So, what is going to be at play with this? Why are we going to? Could this actually, before I get into the more talk portion of this, do you think this storm could bomb out? Is there that concern that this system could explode in intensity?
Yeah, I think we had seen some pretty consistent guidance last night that was leaning toward that possibility. And I don't know exactly how it might have changed today, but I do think that given the dynamics of the system and the strength of it overall, that is still a possibility.
All right. So this is when we actually now cast this, because now casting happens before forecasting, right, you guys? So what we're looking at here is the surface low. All right. This is what we're seeing. This is going to be the big problem right here. And so Ethan. So what we're going to need to do, and you guys in the chat, and then we'll get to more of the potential rain amounts on the global models. So what I'm going to do, folks, and you get to see nowcasting live on the channel, right, Ethan? This is cool, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So what we're going to see is where the surface low is, Ethan, because right now we're going to run the 18Z GFS. Actually, you know what? Let's run that right now. And let's see with what it's showing. All right, it's still too early out yet with its initial, so we'll probably reference the 12Z run. Excuse me there, got my words all jumbled up. So this is the 12Z run. Now, Ethan, we got to figure out, is the GFS closest to where the surface low actually is? So we're going to do this. All right, so we're going to, let's see, it's kind of like in a trough axis. This is really annoying when you think about it. So what we're going to do, actually, no, this is not the GFS, duh. This is the GFS initialized model. So the lowest pressure is there. The strongest winds are there. Here is the European model. So it looks like we might have a converging low right there. And the icon model is just to the northwest, not very far to the northwest of where the GFS is. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we are going to look and compare, is the GFS seeing this model a lot better? Okay, Ethan, like we did last night, remember?
Right.
So there's the GFS. This is the ECMWF, the dot to the right, and then this is the icon model. Okay, this is the icon. This is based on the 12Z guidance. So, let's go to satellite. Okay. What are your thoughts? There's a surface low. Let me play this through. Gotta load the frames. So there's the surface low. So what are your guys' thoughts? Do you see this, Ethan?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were talking to people in the chat or me.
Yeah, I'm now talking to you. So, do you think where's the exact center at? Do you think it's closest to the GFS or the icon? This is the initialization points of the 12Z output.
Right, and it looks like probably still close. Hold on a second. Probably still closest to the GFS. The spread between the GFS and icon has really narrowed, so, there's a little more agreement there. The European still seems to be a little bit farther to the east than what we are seeing here in the visible satellite.
Okay. It's interesting. There's no cold frontal future at all.
Yeah, we had seen more of a cold front last night in the satellite imagery, but that doesn't seem to be quite as pronounced currently.
I wonder why that is.
Probably it doesn't have the air mass separation yet.
Okay, makes sense. So do you guys see this? Again, we did our analysis and it looks like the GFS has a better handle on that surface low. But also look what's going on back here too, Ethan. Here comes this, look at a kind of a foxtail look to the cloud cover.
Yeah, on the backside of the low.
Yep. So, do you think that's where a new low pressure center will form, or will this be this original low up here will be the main one that dominates? I want to. What are your thoughts?
No, I think that the main low that we're seeing right now is the established low, and whether or not any other low pressures develop within that, it seems that the consensus is that there's going to be a consolidated low that approaches California, probably that main one.
Okay, but there it is, Ethan. We're beginning to see a lot of confluence aloft. And what are we beginning to actually see? I want to make sure I got my words correct on that. What are we beginning to see here on the backside of the low with all this cloud cover? Because that was not there really much yesterday.
You're referring to the north of the low?
The west, the what kind of the southwest of the low, this cloud shield.
Ah, okay. Well, that's probably some enhanced moisture that's getting advected up into the area because we're going to be seeing that atmospheric river set up as well. That is a component to this risk. And as you get this enhanced moisture coming into the area, that tends to bring along more cloud cover, especially in the low and mid levels. You could see more upper level cloud cover too as jet stream energy starts to become more focused in that region.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Wow. I think that's crazy.
Also, did want to briefly answer a question here from Cheesy Weather. What are your thoughts for the severe weather threat for Texas tonight? It looks like mainly a hail threat, probably on a more isolated basis, but still, enough for 15% severe weather risk from the SPC. Kind of a diffuse dry line situation present in the area. Not a whole lot of wind shear for the whole area, but the northern and the southern parts might see some slight wind shear enhancement. And through that, perhaps you can get some transient supercell structures. That would enhance the hail risk, because given the modest instability and the fact that we're seeing more mid-level wind shear than low-level wind shear, probably just mainly a hail threat, but a tornado risk could develop in some isolated storms, particularly as you head toward the southern part of the severe weather risk and up to the northern part around the northern Texas, southwest Oklahoma area. There might be an isolated chance of a tornado there.
And explain to my viewers what is a transient supercell.
Yeah, transient supercell just being one that is not particularly long-lived. The mesocyclone gets organized and then it gets disorganized, and it may cycle through that if the wind shear is strong enough, but it's one that's not really sustained over a long distance.
Good to know. What's up, Ghostly Plays? How are you? What's up, Storm Chaser Griffin? Heidi, how are you? All right, so let's see what our latest 18Z GFS shows. Ethan, I'm nervous at looking at this. I'm sorry, even so I'm live, I just can't stare at this. How does it look? Oh, let me close this out really quick. Okay, so we're going to look at the last few runs. Actually, I'm going to hide my camera because I do not want to be embarrassed about this. There we go. So, Ethan,
Yes.
we're going to compare models and then we'll just talk. Okay, we'll just talk about this. So, this is the
Okay, keep in mind there is a slight time delay.
okay. This is the 12Z run. This is the 06Z run. This is the 0Z run. 06Z run from last night, 12Z run from this morning, and 18Z run now. How does it look for our area?
Yeah, let the feed catch up a little bit here.
Oh wait, I could share my screen actually. with you on Discord, so you get.
I can't access that right now.
Oh,
But from what I can tell, it seems to still be a really strong storm system moving in to the area. It's still very windy.
oh man, I am just.
Also, we did have someone come on here. Uh, the account Blah says, "I just came on. Wish I had come on earlier. Is this a historic storm or what?"
Ethan, Ethan,
Yes.
we need to stop what we're doing right now. I'm looking at the 18Z run right now, and it has 55 knot winds in my area. Surface winds, 55 knots.
Whoa. Holy cow. Oh, at the surface.
Yes, at the surface. This is the 18Z run, bud. This is the
Oh,
18Z run. This is not good. This is not good at all.
that is very windy. I would say that that's damaging wind for sure.
Look at this. Look at this. You want to see this? Let me send you the image so you get it right away. Look at this wind max rotating through. Look at this wind max rotating right through. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that core is going right over there. And that's very strong. That's certainly, getting into the category where you're going to start to see some tree and power line damage.
Wind gusts. Wind gusts. With that speed max, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts on the GFS. And we all know the GFS is not a high-resolution model. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
I'd be surprised with sustained winds that strong.
Look at this. This is the wind gust forecast on the GFS. Look at in DMs.
Oh, I see it. That is certainly certainly damaging wind category there. Once you start getting to the 60 to 65 mile an hour range and even 70 miles an hour, you start to see a big increase in the tree damage. Limbs start to come down, power line damage occurs. You can even get some structural damage to siding and some shingles perhaps. So wind speeds of that category start to get dangerous.
And remember, I don't know what other place in the United States can get wind gusts this strong in the Midwest or the Northeast. Can you think of any places that could get wind gusts this strong quite frequently?
Uh, the top of Mount Washington, they get some strong winds pretty consistently on the East Coast. But
Oh my gosh.
typically, if we're talking about the mid, typically if we're talking about the Midwest, to get winds this strong, we need either a an immensely powerful surface low, like the October 2010 surface low, or we would need an organized thunderstorm complex, MCS, derecho, things like that. And those aren't common.
Ethan,
Yes.
I think that was thunder that I heard. We got th-
Oh, nice.
we got thunder, and it is raining really hard. Big time rainfall.
Oh boy, it has arrived.
One of those storms. Let me take a look at radar really quick. And it is very windy. All of a sudden, it got really, really windy.
Did you explain your storm success yesterday?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yesterday I caught a funnel cloud, and I want to show you all. Yeah, we're getting gusts up to 18 miles an hour right now.
That's nice.
That is it. Jeez, it's pouring outside. Okay, hold on. Then we'll get talking about the storm.
That means it. Yeah, that means it has arrived.
No,
The beginnings, anyway.
this is not the main storm. Yeah, look at what's over me right now, Ethan. Look at this storm. Look at this cell.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. Man, it is really bad. That is
Yeah, so
really dark clouds. Holy moly. Whoa! Is it hailing?
what happened?
I think it's hailing, Ethan.
Hail?
Yeah, we got hail.
Oh,
It's hailing.
nice. I love hail.
Whoa! Big hail! Big hail! Dude, it's hailing!
Okay.
Whoa! It's
Whoa.
That was massive!
This is happening live. We've got hail in California.
Sorry. Whoa.
Yeah, I love hail. Any
So-
size. I love hail.
Wow, that was quick. It's hailing again. Now just look, it stops, Ethan, then it just dumps again.
Probably multiple cores within that little cluster.
Man, that is definitely hail. That's not the first time we've had it today. Look what we had earlier. I want to show you guys. We had a huge downpour, similar intensity. That was thunder. Maybe that was. I don't know.
Man, that's cool.
Camera's not picking it up. Wow. Yeah, we got some pop-up storms today. Yeah, those really have popped up this afternoon. So that's what we have right now in my area. And ooh, there's some lightning strikes going on to the north. Near Red Bluff, some intense thunderstorms. So, and would you look at that? The sun is shining through. It's not even rainy anymore. It just stopped. And the sun is shining. Wow.
Talk about an isolated storm.
Yeah, that is really significant. Wow. Actually, Ethan, I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to send it to you. There is hail curtains. You can see hail curtains.
Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah. The precipitation bands can be really beautiful in some of these storms.
I hope this captures it really well, but look how dark this sky is. This is really dark.
I would imagine with the density of that moisture that it would be dark.
I'm sending it in right now. Okay, sorry for the distraction, folks. I know this is not as planned, but wow. That was a freak hailstorm.
Oh, I love that image.
Do you see? Yeah, this is what I just got, you guys. Let me show it on stream. Look at the hail. You can just see it coming down. You can just see it just dumping. And that's what we just had. Gosh. Wow, what is up with my location? Got a funnel cloud yesterday. Got 2 hail cores moving over my area today. We're going to get damaging winds tomorrow night into Sunday. Like, what is going? So I wanted to show
You're
you
getting some active weather.
Yeah, this
over
is
there, or a funnel cloud.
this is our funnel cloud that we got yesterday. That is definitely a funnel cloud because it lifted up. Or a tornado of some sort.
Oh, 100% that's a funnel cloud. You see the laminar appearance to it. If it were scud, it'd be really ragged and not moving very much. That is quite laminar and focused.
I actually saw a tornado in person. That's great.
Yeah, that's something you don't see very often, and I congratulate you on that. That is
I
really
think that's
neat.
a tornado over there, or a funnel cloud.
Yeah, look at how I
I think
reacted.
that's a tornado over there, or a funnel cloud.
Just look at that.
It's like it's lifting up. That is definitely a funnel cloud. Think that.
Which, by the way, Ethan, that gives us a rain total today. We have a rainfall total of almost 0.3 of an inch since midnight, and it all came from these isolated storms repeatedly going over. So, yeah, we've gotten some good rain.
Yeah, I would say so. And if the track is still there and they're still wanting to track along that, be alert because you might get some more.
I have to keep an eye. Let me see satellite now casting this. There is a confluent zone over my area, so we might see some training. That's what we've kind of had today.
Yeah, that possibly could be.
Yeah, here's a convection. These storms really popping up. There is a convergent zone moving through my area now. And you can see all these cumulus building up. That's what we're seeing. So, yeah. Now that we talked about some interrupting thunderstorms, back to the wind we go. Ethan, 69 to almost 70 mile an hour winds in the valley, Central Valley, with gusts up to 80 miles an hour over along the Monterey Bay coast. Been pretty consistent in the last 5 model runs. Ethan.
Right. There's a lot of consistency in that solution of a very windy, actually a damaging wind event coming into California, the southern and the central part, up in the northern parts as well.
Look at these sustained winds. Look at this. The wind max that goes over us, 40 to 50 mile an hour sustained winds at the surface with a clean surface wind. Clean surface wind reaching speeds of 54 knots. 54 knots.
Yeah, that wind max off the coast comes right up into the Central Valley.
And look at this. Look at the pressure on that. 980 to 983 millibars.
Right, so that is really, really low and really enhancing the pressure gradient with that.
Which, by the way, Ethan, if this comes true, we can get pressures down to 988 millibars. And look at the gradient. Look how tight that is.
Absolutely. That's going to get some strong winds going in there. Seems likely at this point.
If that verifies, I will tell you what, I can't go to work. I'm not driving in that. That will be very dangerous. Can't do it. I'm telling you, can't do it. We have a lot of tall palm trees along our road, down the entire road that I live off of. And Just the last storm we had, Ethan, that brought us like 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, palm frogs all over the road. I had to navigate through that. And I'm only imagining what it's going to be like when we get this big windstorm. I am, yeah.
Right. And that's a good lesson to other people as well who are watching this and are in the path of the system. If you end up getting wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour, travel is really not advised because there's a lot of people who get injured or worse, unfortunately, when trees or other debris fall on their vehicle. And in this situation, you can actually get some flying debris, not like a tornado, obviously, but some debris can go flying, including tree debris from those palm fronds, even up to tree limbs can go falling. So you really don't want to be out in those conditions if you can avoid it.
Mm-hmm. It's what I'm worried about. Man, Sunday is going to be, I'm not just saying stormy, very stormy. And that's a strong word that I use, very stormy. So, yeah, big time. Big time winds. Not only that, Ethan, this is 925 millibar winds over the valley. 925 millibar winds, 75 knots. 925 millibar winds, 75 knots. 2,000 feet above the surface.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much to mix that down to the surface, either thermodynamically or mechanically.
And guess what? That happens during the peak heating of the day. So temperatures are going to be like, look at the temperature profiles in the upper 50s. So we're fully mixed out any inversion that moves through that area. So everything screams some serious wind. And it looks like right now.
Right.
Oh, what were you going to
sorry.
say, Ethan?
Oh, it's just saying, by all indications, it looks like a high wind event is developing in a few days in California.
Yeah. I am really concerned. Oh my gosh. I actually have to send Ronald this. I mean, that's a speed max that has been very consistent on the GFS model. And we are gonna, I don't even want to know. And by the way, my storm app, Ethan, remember last night was showing 20-mile-an-hour winds, right? You there?
Yes.
All right. So, remember my storm app was showing 20 mile an hour winds?
Yeah, I remember.
Well, guess what? It has 31-mile-an-hour winds in my area, which is still generous, given what I'm seeing.
Oh, absolutely.
This is absolutely sickening. This is very sickening. I can't stand this. Wow, this is... Remember, Ethan, I repeat, this is not a high-resolution model. And it picking this up, wow. Wow.
Right. That is a very interesting thing to keep an eye on there.
I'm measuring the pressure gradient, Ethan. It's over 30 millibars between Sacramento and Southern California. 30 millibar difference in pressure.
Yeah, that is quite tight, especially over that relatively short of a distance.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at the 925 millibar winds. Oh, and this likes to freeze on me. You can freeze all you want, Weather Bell. Look at the 900 millibar winds. 80 knots, 80 to 85 knots over the Central Valley.
Oh, absolutely. Incredibly strong.
Oh, man. I'm amused. I'm surprised that the GFS has been so consistent. And look at the wind max over the valley at 850 millibars, Ethan, 85 to 91 knots.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get any stronger than that. So, yeah, this has a lot of potential. And if that's not bad
By
enough,
the way, I just wanted to briefly say here, we had a question earlier I saw, and I was looking, LMA Games YT, is there snow for West Virginia? Just wanted to briefly answer that. It looks like pretty clear weather for most of West Virginia here coming up over the course of the weekend, so not anything really impactful out there.
no. Also, look at the jet streak here, Ethan. Look at this left exit region. I'm going to send you an image. Look at the left exit region. I don't know if you can get any more dynamic than that. Look at that left exit region.
Right. That is where you're really getting the upper level dynamics in place that leads to a strong low level pressure response.
And if that's not bad enough, this is a deep flow too. Look at how deep this is. Even at 250 millibars, look at that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a deep system in the atmosphere.
I'm actually concerned. I am actually concerned. Not just for myself and well-being, but my grandma that I live with and my weather station. I think there's a potential if my weather station falls over, then that says a lot because we have anchored that thing down really good.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it stands up pretty well to this. I did want to say that unfortunately I'm gonna have to be headed out here. I've been on for about 45 minutes or so, so I am gonna have to be headed out, unfortunately, pretty soon.
All right. So before you have to go, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think the GFS has the best handle on it? We're starting to see the European model trend northward. So does that mean the GFS, what we're seeing here, could actually verify?
I think that certainly that could verify with GFS. It seems to have a pretty good initialization with the system and seems to be tracking along fairly consistently to this point. So I'd say that it probably has a fairly decent handle on it.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Also,
yeah.
Diana, just want to say, Utah mountains. Yes, you've got snowfall up in the mountains in Utah, winter storm warnings in the southern part of the state, winter weather advisories up north, and with those, some avalanche concerns. You've got avalanche watches and warnings in some locations as well.
Wait. Avalanche concerns? Jeez. Man, the Intermountain West is really getting impacted. Let's see actually for the Utah area. Hazardous weather outlook. Let's see what they're saying about this. Then we'll get to rainfall totals because I wanted to show you this too, Ethan.
Yeah, because I really need to be headed out.
My gosh, up to 2 feet of snowfall across much of Utah with this upcoming storm system. Or with this current system.
Accumulating snow for sure.
Yup. I want to inform you, Ethan, Southern California has now been put under a flood watch. Just issued. They just issued it. Flood watch.
Oh, yeah, I am not surprised.
There is going to be a 24-hour period of very heavy rainfall in that area, up to 12 inches of rainfall in many areas. A foot.
Yeah, which is, that's enormous.
I just cannot. I just 12 inches in my state where I live. 12 inches. I guess we're taking Hurricane Irma. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Hurricane Irma, but wow. Lot of water. By the way, the rainfall totals in my area, Ethan, with this system could reach 3 inches now. The GFS has been uptrending.
Yeah. From what I have seen, that looks like a pretty reasonable solution right there.
And Ethan, our soils are so saturated here right now. There's like puddles outside. I mean, water's not soaking into the ground, and our basement has water in it a little bit. Thank goodness the people down there that are working are able to keep the water away. But this system, we're going to see a lot of flooding in my basement. I'm pretty concerned.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at a lot of flooding impacts, and hopefully, residents in the area take appropriate precautions. I'm sure David will be talking about some of those preparation acts here coming up pretty soon. But as for me, unfortunately, I do have to be leaving now. But I really have appreciated being on here, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Ethan, for joining. I do appreciate it. You're awesome. You're awesome and everything.
Thank you.
Are you gonna be available later on to like this evening? If not, that's fine. If not, can we talk tomorrow night? Because this is urgent. We have to talk about this. Adding in an emergency conversation.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow night, but I will not be on tonight.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Thank you for tuning in, Ethan. I do appreciate all your time.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you, and everyone have a good day.
Have a good one. All right, folks. So we're going to actually really get our discussion on the way. So as you all know, we're looking at the latest GFS model. Very concerning as far as wind and heavy rain impacts go. And I'm speechless. And I'm not doing this to hype up, to cause fear mongering. I'm telling you, we've got storm warnings along the California coast. Purples, grape purple. Okay, that's a level 3 marine warning that has been issued. I'm not even surprised if they even go further north with that. A storm warning to be issued for the San Francisco Bay as well. They don't even have any products out for much of the Bay Area. But wow, a storm warning is not something that you mess with very often. That's something you don't normally see in California, and this is the second time it has happened. So we're going to get to rainfall totals because someone is asking about that. So simply to put it, I'm going to use the national blend of models. Actually, that is rendering, so we will use the latest GFS, which I think is, at this point, it's probably as reliable as it probably will end up getting. So storm totals up through Monday for Fresno, right around an inch. Now, again, this has been going back and forth. So I would say probably about 1 to 2 inches is a safe bet. Maybe 2 to 3 inches over the Sacramento area. In fact, we actually take a look at my flood watch. In Sacramento, I'm sure they will. This is San Francisco, Eureka, Hanford. Actually, let me go to this. There you go. Doesn't say rainfall amounts, and I'm surprised by that. So the fact that there is flooding, I would expect maybe 1 to 3 inches of rainfall for the Sacramento Valley. For Fresno, right around an inch to maybe a couple of inches. Now, Bakersfield, because of the rain shadow, you might be lucky to only get 1/4 to 1/2 an inch out of the storm system. Again, if you're lucky, doesn't mean you will. I think you might see a little more. probably about 3/4 of an inch. But wow. This doesn't show it very well because this is not a high-res model, but I would guarantee up to 12 inches of rainfall in some of the central and southern coastal mountains of California, like Channel Island, Oxnard, Santa Barbara County, that whole area, San Luis Obispo. You might end up getting a foot of rainfall. And a foot of rainfall, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that is, I mean, on my tape measure, let's measure that. A foot of rainfall right where my finger is. So right where my finger is to here is a foot. This is quite a bit of rainfall. A foot of rainfall. And there are some areas that might even see 13 or 14 inches of rainfall. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of water falling from the sky. That puts it into perspective that a foot of rain is is something to not mess with. Dean, I am being serious. Yes, there is a moderate risk for heavy rainfall along the central and southern California coast because of this reasoning. There is a lot of rainfall that is anticipated with this system. Okay? It's a very strong atmospheric river. In fact, we're going to take a look at our atmospheric river guidance forecast here in a little bit. But I want to be clear with something. The GEFS ensemble, by the way, again, all of the ensembles put into this forecast 30+ mile-an-hour winds in the Central Valley, okay, in my area. So there is very good confidence that this will exist. There's a surface low at this moment. Pressures possibly down to 990 millibars. That is definitely lower than the last run, and it has been getting lower and lower with each progressive ensemble forecast, which is alarming. You don't see that very often. There's no chances. Winds 20 knots or greater in the valley. Definitely a likelihood at this time. For rain amounts, let's take a look at the ensemble forecast. And this runs through Tuesday. Look at these areas. Again, this is not the highest resolution model, but potentially 1 to 3 inches for the Central Valley, as you can see here. Fresno, maybe as much as an inch and a half or so. What we were looking at earlier is a deterministic forecast, and then maybe as much as 4 inches, maybe 5 inches over Southern California on the ensemble, which is more than enough to cause a lot of flooding, according to the ensemble. The national blend of models is also what I like to look at, and this is just coming out right now, so we will wait for that to finish rendering. That's the super blend. And in other words, that's another way to look at the rain totals. And it's showing a lot of water. I had 30 feet of water behind my house the other day. 30 feet of water? What? What's up, Slug? How are you doing? So, I want to emphasize that, the models are alarming. The 18Z runs are not looking very good from the GFS. Actually, let's see this from the Icon model. I've not even looked at the Icon today, or at least this run. Yeah, look at that. Even 30 mile-an-hour winds here across the valley. So that is very concerning. Pressure levels or pressures could bottom out at 992 millibars. That's pretty low on the Icon model. And winds start picking up at 6 in the morning, and they stay strong all the way through about 5 or 6. But again, depending on what model you look at, the latest GFS model does pretty good at timing. I'm thinking right around that evening or that Sunday night time frame. Sunday afternoon is when I think we could see the strongest winds. Yeah, Ghostly Plays, this is absolutely crazy. You got that right. No joke at all. This is a very serious system. And when you look at winds, look at this. That is very significant. In fact, to be specific, if we look at the Sacramento area, that red, that's surface wind. Near 80-meter wind, either way you put it, it's close to the surface. But it is under the surface wind tab. So it kind of makes sense to use it as surface wind. Otherwise, they wouldn't have it there. But look at these surface winds. I mean, 44 miles an hour. Might even see 45. Never mind. There's a 45 mile an hour wind max. Right in there. That is very substantial. Wow. Very significant. We're going to have a widespread wind damage. And I'm still, I don't know how to say this. I'm really surprised. There is no high wind warnings out for lower elevations. I'm really surprised because of how heavy the rainfall is going to be. But yeah, there is more rain. Well, there's a lot more through Monday afternoon. Again, 3 inches in some areas. David, are you going to capture a mudslide on camera? Well, fortunately, I do not live in a mudslide prone area, so I think we're fine with that. So I will not be able to capture a mudslide, and I do not want to capture a mudslide because those do kill people if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So no, I will not be capturing a mudslide. What I might be doing is a live stream though on this for sure. I think if everything holds together, I'm going live on it. I'm definitely going live on it. There's no doubt. I am confident they will upgrade to a high wind warning for San Joaquin Valley and Central Valley. Yeah, I think so. Let me see the sustained winds on my app. 32 mile an hour winds. Okay, 32. Yup, that went up quick. That went up very quick. Man, that's very strong in my area. Yeah, this is very good confidence that this is going to be bad. Wow. Wow, wow. Heidi, no. We're very saturated, Heidi. Our grounds could handle a little bit more water, but I mean, yeah, we're very saturated. We're really saturated. So I am actually, the rain is one thing. We need the rain, but wow, the winds on this system will be what makes this storm extremely, extremely impactful. I'm telling you right now. I'm being serious. That's what's going to make this storm very impactful. And if, to be specific, winds in my area start picking up at 6 in the morning, and strongest winds are even in place still until about 2 in the morning. So we're looking at almost a 24-hour wind event with this. Gosh. Jeez Louise. David, I was watching a hypothetical Okay, Storm Chaser Griffin. What's the standard for high wind warnings in California? Because I'm in Wisconsin and I don't know what is it there. So a high wind warning should be issued if sustained winds are between 25 to 40 miles an hour, which the sustained winds are there on their forecast. What the problem is, they have wind gusts that are not, I mean, they're forecasting 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. Wind gusts, 40 to 50. If I could look at the GFS model right now, once more, with the SWAFT, I mean, this was a big uptrend. I'll see if this verifies, but still, 60 mile an hour wind gusts in the valley. Anything in orange is 60 mile an hour wind gusts. I mean, don't tell me, please, how consistent this has been in the last 5 model runs. I mean, I'm going through all of these model runs, and especially this one is just even more extreme with that. So, oh man, I don't know. Wind gusts 58 miles an hour or higher, I think. Oh, okay, AA Aaron. Yeah, it is 58 or higher, which still, Aaron, would qualify as a high wind warning. Because even on the 18Z yesterday, look at, there's a lot of consistency. But no, National Weather Service has to kind of be too generous, which I understand where they're going at that. They could still revise it and upgrade the wind advisory to a higher level. What are your thoughts, AA Aaron? Or A Aaron, I should say. Do you think the GFS has a good handle on this? I want your honest opinion. Or does the European model have a good handle on it? Because look at the European model. Look at the winds over the valley. See, they're not as strong, but the GFS is much stronger with the winds. The Canadian. Let's look at the Canadian. It's about 30 miles an hour. The Icon, also right around 30 miles an hour. What's up, Lemaya? How are you doing? Clouds look pink and orange there. You must have a pretty sunset. So, A Aaron, what are your thoughts? I would really like to know your opinion. What does the entire West Coast look like? So, in reference, looks like the West Coast, well, much of California is going to get decimated by heavy snow. Look at this, by the way. Look at the blue color. That is... That's off the charts right there. That dark blue color indicates some very heavy snowfall rates. Well, I think the GFS has a better handle on the system than the Euro. The 12Z run on the Euro is starting to line up with the GFS. Okay. I can see that, definitely. But you can see where the system is. We're actually going to start getting height clouds here soon with this system as it develops. I thought the GFS it wasn't dependable. Well, it all depends on the scenario. That's the tricky part. The GFS is good at some things and it's not good with other things. We'll see. We shall see. But it is concerning to see the high-res models kind of par up on that. I mean, look at this. I want you guys to tell me something. If the GFS is accurate or not. Here's a 12Z run, or here's a 18Z run on the NAM 12 kilometer model. Pretty stinking, almost exact where the placement of that low is. Look at, see that? Here's a GFS. Very similar. So high-res models are even parring up with the GFS. Even the Icon model is pretty close to where that surface low actually ends up being, which is why we get 30-mile-an-hour wind sustained winds in the valley. We don't get wind gusts on this product. Well, the GFS isn't dependable further than 5 days out. The GFS, very inconsistent more than the Euro, up to 10 days out. That is true, Aaron. So, I'm thinking this is going to pan out. I think this is going to be like the GFS. I'm not trying to wish for the worst case scenario, but that's just what is lining up. Let's see with what the super blend is showing. So what the super blend. It's even worse. Yeah, it's even worse. That is an area of 40-mile-an-hour sustained winds. Look at this. 40-mile-an-hour sustained winds over my area. That's from the super blend. All right? Super blend. Say that with me, everyone. Say super blend in chat. That is from the super blend, which, by the way, the super blend along the Monterey coast has winds up to 61 to 66 miles an hour sustained. 61 to 66 mile an hour sustained winds along the Monterey Bay coast, which is right here. That's that area. Monterey Bay is right in here, and the Big Sur coast is down here. And look at those sustained winds on this forecast, and this has uptrended. You can see the uptrend. Watch. Watch this. Look at the uptrend. Boom, 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 and boom. Really lining up. Okay, you don't need to spam it. You don't need to spam it, Stormchaser Griffin. But that's what it's showing right now. That is very alarming. Wind gusts of at least 60 miles an hour cannot be ruled out. That is really, really significant. See the rainfall totals on this. Still looking at 2 inches. What's up, Aaron? How are you doing? So basically what the super blend model is, everyone, is the super blend, okay, is combining all of your global ensemble members, okay, all of the high resolution models and their members, okay. I'm guessing it's like there's more than 100 members that are put into the national blend model. And that's what the NBM is. So theoretically, the National Weather Service does use this to make their forecasts quite often. And this being this high, over the valley with those sustained winds and gusts with rainfall totals exceeding 2 to 3 inches is very alarming. It's absolutely alarming to see winds that high on the NBM forecast. That is something that you don't normally see. And it's coming. It's coming to life. So I think we're going to have winds that are destructive. Full destruction. I'm not liking what I'm seeing at all. I mean, this is just concerning. David, you seen the funnel cloud tornado in Texas? No, I haven't actually, Storm Chaser Griffin. Scorpio, what's up? What part of the Central Valley are you located in, Scorpio? Boy, if you're in the Stockton area, if you're south of, say, I-80, if you're south of Yuba City, you're gonna certainly see significant wind gusts. I'm still highly uncertain about what goes on to the north of Sacramento, and that's because we have a stalled out boundary, a cold front, or a warm frontal boundary. And what I mean by that is when we play this through, we can see... Okay, this is Saturday. It's really, well, on this model, you can see it. Where does this lift out? See, you can see this colder air. This is very dense, by the way, and we have northwesterly winds fighting against this southeasterly surge of warm, moist, unstable air. So this really makes the forecast north of Sacramento very challenging if that colder air is able to mix out. Because if it doesn't mix out by enough good warm air advection through the deep layer, winds are not going to verify very much at all. Might not even see any wind at all, virtually. You can see clearly what this looks like on the NAM. In the NAM right here, you can see winds 30 miles an hour, but where this boundary sets up, there's very little in the way of wind at all. While to the south, you have these wind gusts that are going to be very significant. So we'll just have to wait and see what latest models show in future outputs, because this has the capability of doing a lot of damage. All right. You're in the Stockton area. Nice, Scorpio. Well, looks like you're in the worst impact zone of this storm. When I think the low-level jet is going to be screaming, which, by the way, on the GFS model, if we look at the low-level jet forecast, this is strong. This is very, very strong. At 925 millibars, that's about 2,000 feet above the surface. Why does that matter? Because that's where our wind gusts usually occur from. So we're looking at 70 to 80 knots. 70 to 80 knot winds at that level. And if we get any rain cores that are able to tap into that, whoa, we can get some serious wind gusts over 60 miles an hour perhaps. And that's what this model really shows. All right. Always seems like everything misses us. Maybe this time around, it won't. Yeah, Scorpio, I'm very confident this windstorm is going to verify. Unlike the last one didn't. Because, you know, this is bombing out. This system's going to intensify quickly. So there's confidence in that happening. And so we're going to see winds likely to verify. Will they get up to 75 miles an hour or 65? We don't know for sure. But what we do know is winds will gust well in excess of 55 miles an hour. At least, I'm confident in that. 50 to 55 at least is what I'm going with. which is stronger than the last windstorm that we had, which Stockton only had a peak wind gust of only 42 or 43 miles an hour. This one definitely going to be stronger than that one. Okay. Can you tell me about Huntington Beach, please? So Huntington Beach is in, seems like it's a East Coast name. So let's see. Oh, that's in California. Okay, there's more than one Huntington Beach, by the way. So rainfall totals for Huntington Beach. So let's go to Southern California here, because this is where it's really going to set up shop. So Huntington Beach, if we look at our NAM models, GFS doesn't do a good job at painting this very well. So right now, on our latest NAM model, you might get anywhere between 1 to 3 inches. Okay, no, I'm reading it out, follower, heart. So 1 to 3 inches of rain is a possibility in Huntington Beach area down here. Okay, if we go back to the 12Z run from this morning, about the same. But we can see just it only takes one run and look at the shift southward. So there's still a lot of uncertainty exactly where this atmospheric river is going to stall. We know it's going to stall somewhere, but where is it going to stall is a big question, right? Right now on this model in particular, you could get some serious impacts if we just base it off of one run. So if we look at the short range, if we look at the national blend models, which is a super blend, it's right in that ballpark of about 2 to 3 inches, maybe 4 inches. Okay. Cheesy weather. There's going to be storms out there on the GFS, I'm sure. It's a matter of will they verify once we get closer. We actually do take a look at lower 48 weather really quickly. So that storm kind of moves off the coast of the eastern seaboard, not going to bring much in the way of impacts. You're really not going to see a lot in the way of stormy weather, cheesy weather, not until probably about the 14th. But I mean, that's far out. I'm not trusting something that is that far out on the GFS just yet. But there looks to be a little bit of a weather disturbance moving through that area. We're going to have to just wait and see. Let me see the Climate Prediction Center. You do actually turn the corner with above average rainfall, somewhat above average. Dry for the west, of course. But it looks like the west is going to have much quieter weather once we get into the middle of next week. Looks like, wow, February is likely to be well above average for the west. That seems very likely at the moment. With the 3-month outlook, equal chances. Can you look at the storm in Louisiana? So the storm in Louisiana is likely to dump some pretty heavy rainfall. Mississippi area. That's according to the latest GFS. The European model also agreeing on that same system. And then for the deep south, like Florida and Georgia, still going to get some showers out of that. And then a break before maybe more weather down there for the southeast. There is actually some agreement that the eastern seaboard could get more rainfall, actually, but no snow at the moment. Unseasonably warm in northern Wisconsin. Crazy. I know. And it's going to remain that way. I don't see much in the way of cooler weather at all. In fact, temperatures could still be above average for will likely be above average for the entire work week. with temperatures in Michigan for Friday morning in the low to mid 50s. How about that? Really warm. Very warm for early February standards. And I do not see any cold periods coming. Nothing at all. So, yep, have fun. I hope you're enjoying the warm weather because I don't think it's changing until probably the 17th or the 18th of February is when I think the pattern might change again. But of course, that's still far out in time and we just don't exactly know if it will end up being the case. So if we look at the 0-0 run, prior model runs, there is actually increasing agreement on that happening. Was just pouring buckets in Fresno, now bright sunshine. What's up, Lori Martin? You're also in the Central Valley. Nice, got some local people watching. I don't have radar over there. So you're going to be my radar, okay? So you were just saying it's pouring buckets. Yeah, you had some storms there moving through. Look at these storms. Look at this line moving through right now. Those are actually some intense storms. So any questions, you guys? Any questions you might have for me? Any questions? I will probably make a video tomorrow. I feel like I need to have a mixed bag of videos and live streams on the channel. So tomorrow I'll probably make my last video on this storm system before we go back to live streaming on Sunday to figure out on how that's going to work out. That's what I'm thinking. We're going to probably end up streaming this for sure because it's that serious. Where do I live? I live near Stockton. I'm not going to disclose my exact location for privacy purposes, but I do live near Stockton. I don't know yet, Heidi. I don't even know if I'm going to be going to church either. Well, I probably will be able to go to church, but wow, those winds. It depends on the timing when the winds get strongest because, wow, we are going to have damage. We're going to have a lot of wind damage, I think, for sure. Yes, thank you, Heidi. Can you look at any long-range tropical models? Not right now, Storm Chaser Griffin. It's only February. I am going to be doing hurricane season for those that are probably very excited. That is happening. I still need to make my preliminary hurricane forecast, but that's not going to be released until probably early April. I'll do one for April, and then May, and then probably July sometime. Storm Chaser Griffin. we're in February. We're not in May or June yet. Maybe you can make a hurricane forecast. By the way, I want to hear your opinions on that, Storm Chaser Griffin. What are your thoughts on that? How many named storms, hurricanes, and major hurricanes do you expect? Your birthday's May 19th? Oh, nice. Your birthday's next month? Oh, nice cheesy weather. The sun's birthday. The sun. All right. I don't think anyone has questions. Well, as always, everyone, make your Saturday, Friday. Man, my days are mixed up. That's what happens when you're busy, I guess. Make Friday a great day from the Home Weather Office for February the 2nd. I will be back tomorrow with a video update on this storm system, as this is again looking like a very significant, a dangerous storm with heavy rain, strong winds, heavy mountain snowfall. Before I actually end it, I wanted to show you all snowfall totals really quickly. This is from the GFS model through Wednesday next week. Possibly as much as over 3 to 6 feet of snowfall. Here's a look at the European. Very similar snow amounts. Here's a look at the 12-kilometer NAM. Not as much, but that's only into Monday afternoon. Here's a look at the NAM 3-kilometer. Possibly several feet of snow for the mountains. So big time snow producer storm for the mountains of California here, even Southern California. Please be safe, everyone. Please follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. I will be having tweet posts out on this pretty frequently. I'm probably going to get something out this afternoon or evening on the 0Z model runs, including the high-res models. So if you haven't followed me yet on Twitter, please consider doing so. As you know, I've been posting a lot on this storm system, so follow me if you haven't already. But make today a great day on this Friday. I'll